Welcome in to NextUp QB Edition, Week 2. Stay tuned for the full video to see who is atop of the leaderboard for Week 2 in college football. Let's go.
Turn rookies out of veterans. Yeah, blink twice and I'm ahead of them. Never lost was the evidence. Pick a boss, I'ma get them then. And it's fire that I'm sending them. Taking all my chances out of faith.
Thanks for tuning back in with me for Week 2 of NextUp, a QB Edition presented by Off the Record D. This week we're going to cover the same 8 QBs, but you might be surprised by who ends up at the top of the leaderboard this week. Sam Levitt. Sam Levitt, he is the lowest man on the totem pole this week. His Arizona State team, they faced off against Mississippi State. A couple things that I noticed from him in this game. He seemed like he was pressing. His accuracy was off at the beginning of the game, especially in the first half. He wasn't really making a difference in the game going into the second quarter. And he was starting to press. You can see him pressing just with the throws he was making. He started to make bad decisions. He had a bad interception that he shouldn't have threw. It wasn't like a force where he had pressure up the middle or anything in his face. It was just he was forcing. So he did have the first bad interception in the second quarter. He did look good running the ball. Like I said last week, he's a great athlete. So that was a positive for him. But towards the end of the game, he was pressing and forced again. Another bad interception. They end up losing the game in an upset loss to Mississippi State. Sam Levitt, we need you to bounce back. We need you to do better next week, brother. We're rooting for you. Cade Klubnik of Clemson, they played Troy this week. This should have been a game where Clemson overpowered Troy. That is not how this game went. So early in the game, the offense wasn't doing much. They were near their end zone. I believe they were at the 4 or 5 yard line. He had a pass swatted by the D line into an interception for a linebacker. It ended up being an interception TD. So they just didn't start off the game well. Middle of the second quarter, Cade starts to, pick up a little steam, a little momentum. He makes great throw. He did make about 3 throws that I was like, man, okay, I can see what people like about him. But the way I'm grading these quarterbacks is when they go against competition that is not on the same level as them, I want to see dominance. And if you don't dominate when your team has more talent, then that's going to be a knock against you. That's one of the things that knocked him. Also, turnovers are something that I take seriously. So turnovers will cause guys to be lower on the list. Lenore Sellers. Now, this category, the next 2 QBs you're going to see, this is not really due to play. This is more so their teams were so much better than the teams they faced. Lenore Sellers was 11 for 19. They were playing South Carolina State. Defense, special teams were dominating this game. They had 2 punt returns for a touchdown. So he didn't really have to do much. He did have a great throw for a TD, but he only had 11 pass attempts. That's not on him. It was a great win by their team. I believe they did face some rain delay as well. So just need to see more, but it wasn't more he can do. Drew Aller. Penn State played FIU. Their first 2 games haven't been against the toughest competition, and that's where I really want to see Drew Aller dominate. Again, he was having an okay game. It looked like a highlight reel for the skilled players, kind of similar as last week. Similar things I was saying, but in the third quarter, he just made one of those throws. It seems like at least once a game, Drew Aller is making a throw where you're saying he's popping off the screen with his arm talent. He did that, but since they are facing inferior talent, you want to see domination. We didn't get domination. Fernando Mendoza, he looked better than last week. This week, he was able to get some TDs on the board. They played Kennesaw State. They have more talent than Kennesaw State. He did throw 2 touchdown passes, were some really good throws that he made, and then his other 2 touchdown passes, guys were running wide open. So, he looked better than he did last week. Still not at the top of the leaderboard. Got to see more. Got to see dominance when you are playing against inferior talent. Arch Manning with the bounce back game. I know a lot of people had their eyes on this game. They wanted to see how Arch bounced back against San Jose State after his showing against Ohio State. First couple of drives, he seemed like he wasn't settled in. I was like, man, we're starting to see some accuracy issues again. It was a fake screen, and he hit the freshman. I believe he's a redshirt freshman, number 13 for Texas, on an 83-yard touchdown pass. He got it and was out of there. He did have 4 touchdown passes. The best one was he threw a tight window to, I believe it's a tight end, number 88. He did have something that I want to see him clean up. When you have the level of talent that Texas has and you're playing San Jose State, you shouldn't just be giving the ball away. He did make a bad decision, force a throw in the red zone, and it was an interception. Probably the reason why he's not at the top of the list this week. He had a much greater showing versus San Jose State than he did versus Ohio State. He also showed his athleticism on a TD run in this game. So he accounted for 5 touchdowns in this game. Garrett Nussmeier. Now, this is one of those situations where he kind of gets dinged because of the level of talent he's playing. He had an interception on a underthrow when his man had the guy beat at least by 2 steps. So he just needs to lead him. He didn't lead him going up the sidelines. If he would have put it outside the numbers, then his guy could have ran up under it. But he threw it inside the numbers, and it ended up being an interception. That's on him. He has to make a better throw. I saw him changing plays at the line of scrimmage. They were running a lot of motion to try to see if they can identify what the defense is doing. He did lead a 98-yard touchdown drive that I thought was very impressive. He made some good throws, but considering the fact they were playing Louisiana Tech, I wanted to see domination. I didn't get that. He jumped off the page at certain times, but you got to see more when you're LSU going against Louisiana Tech. For this week's top QB in college football, we have Carson Beck. Now, this was another game where you have a Miami team that's ranked, I believe they're ranked number 5. They were playing Bethune-Cookman. Bethune-Cookman came down the road, and they were playing in Miami, and Carson Beck started the game with, I believe he set a new Miami record. He went 15 for 15 straight completions to start the game. So, a new Miami record. I told y'all, I got some bias to Carson Beck. But when he balls out, he balls out. He balled out this week. Great. He had a great throw. His first touchdown. I really like that throw that he made for his first touchdown. He did throw up a 50-50 ball for one of his guys to try to make a play. But they dominated Bethune-Cookman. It was never a doubt. Never in question who was going to win this game, and it was led by Carson Beck. So even though I told y'all I do got a little bias towards Carson Beck, he can still end up at the top of the board when he performs. So my biases won't stop me from rating these guys for how they play. So make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. Let me know what you think of my list. Let me know what you think of my leaderboard. Let me know what changes you would make, or if you would keep it the same. And make sure you subscribe so you can catch these videos coming out Tuesday mornings at 10 a.m. I'll catch y'all in the next one. Thank you for being here. Peace.